going, everybody? Welcome to the All Around Podcast. We're on episode 30.
Yeah.
30, Jeremy. It's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, it's about time.
Today's date is November 20th, 2017.
Oh, they almost aligned.
I know. Yeah, it threw me off for a minute, too.
I know, I could tell.
Yes. I am Nick. With me, as always, is the lovely, delightful, always wonderful Jeremy.
Hi.
And, so Jeremy.
So, Nick.
There's a lot. Well, okay. So there's a lot
kind of a lot.
There's small topics. I think we only have really like 5 bullet points, really. Yeah. But holy fuck, there is a Mondo thing that we'll save for last.
Yes.
So why don't we go through the more lighthearted things that are not as debatable.
Yeah.
If we will.
So we'll start with this to just kind of throw that out of the way. I think that's a good idea.
For both you and me, yes.
So
for both our
November 20th, it happens to be a Monday, and Monday is the same. This Monday is the same Monday as the week that falls in Thanksgiving, and that means that this week is Hell Week for anybody that works retail like us. We won't tell you where we work though.
Thoughts and prayers to any other retail person that has to work, or just even any person that just has to work on either Thanksgiving or Black Friday.
Or the Saturday after, or the Sunday after, or Cyber Monday.
Yes, our hearts go out to you. Yeah, exactly, too. Anyone that's got to do fucking data streaming on goddamn fucking Cyber Monday, our hearts go out to you.
Yeah, we feel for you.
Yes.
Believe me. This week is Black Friday. So, obviously, we talk about a lot of games.
Yep.
If you guys are ever going to pick up any of said games, this would be the week to do it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of retailers that are going to have a lot of deals on games where they're $20, $30, $40 off.
Yep.
And if you have slacked this far and haven't gotten into Xbox or PlayStation 4, definitely pick one up.
Now's the goddamn time. Yep.
So do that.
Well, and then also, too, so Sony's doing it different this year, though, right?
Yeah, Sony's is all week. Sony's already started. PlayStation 4s are $100 off. So you can pick up a PlayStation 4 with a 1 terabyte for $200. And then Microsoft starts on Friday, and theirs are going to be that the 500 gig Xbox Ones are down to $189.99.
Mm-hmm.
So
and just a heads up too, as a disclaimer, we're just talking about very generic sales. We didn't want to waste the entire podcast actually going to a Black Friday. Here's what you need to look for, shopper's guide. Yeah. That's never really been our thing.
But those two things are universal. So wherever you go, if you go to Best Buy, they might have some deal where you get X amount of other things with the PlayStation. Mm-hmm. GameStop might have X amount of other things with the Xbox. Doesn't matter what they're going to have, but the set prices that Microsoft and Sony set were the previous things that we mentioned.
Bingo.
So go for those, which are pretty cool. Also, PlayStation's controllers are like $20 off, which is like super rare. That like never happens.
Yeah.
So like pick those up.
Yeah. It's a good deal.
So yeah, and the VR is like cheap too.
Yeah.
They're gonna be cheap.
VR, yeah. It's like roughly like 100 or something.
It's like $100 off. So like get that if you're gonna get that. But now actually into games.
Yes.
So one of the most notorious games, not notorious, most famous, most notorious. Yeah. Infamous games ever put out another game in its series, which is Pokemon.
Yep.
Or as I wrote down here, Packet Man.
Yeah.
Because I like to make fun of the name. Jesus.
Yeah, I knew. As a disclaimer, I knew when you fucking wrote that on that goddamn piece of paper that one of us was gonna fuck up the goddamn name.
I always call it Pokemon.
Yeah.
I always do that.
No, if anything, it's
Packet Man.
It's Pokemon, which is short for Pocket Monster.
Yeah, no, fuck that.
But now...
So Pokemon.
Yes.
Pokemon put out Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, which are the sequels to Sun and Moon.
Yep. Kind of?
Kind of. They're reimaginings of Sun and Moon. It's like the same story, but different, which has different things. And new Pokemon, and also new Ultra Beasts, and new places to go. Yep. And there's like a wormhole, dark void place thing that looks pretty dope.
Which goes more into... Essentially what they really focused on now was really fully fleshing out the story of Sun and Moon.
Yep.
By that, as giving like not just an introduction into Ultra Beasts like Sun and Moon did, but to really go over like where the Ultra Beasts come from, how they actually affect the like Pokemon world, and a lot more detail on the characters that were new to the series that you got introduced with, and really kind of went way more into detail on how they how they kind of affect the world and the main character and all that stuff. So yeah, it's definitely interesting.
Yeah, and we're going to do a whole episode on that later, possibly with a very, very special guest.
Yes, possibly.
That's like, say possibly.
Yes.
It'll be, we'll go into reviews and talk about everything.
100% go ham.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
But let's go over review scores to at least, God forbid if people don't want to watch a 30-minute thing.
Yep. So Metacritic gave it an 87%. It got an 8.2 user score. It got a 9 out of 10 on IGN, just like almost every other Pokemon game.
Yep.
It's Pokemon. Kids love it. Adults love it. It's great. It is released pretty much right alongside the Pokeball 2DS.
The best, I mean,
cool.
just to, without going into like our thoughts really on reviews and what have you, the best advice I have for anybody who's really debating on this one is if you, ironically enough, loved Black and White 2 with its differences, but not too many differences, like not game-breakingly changing gameplay or anything like that, then I would say go for it.
Yep.
If you really didn't like those two, they didn't offer enough changes and didn't give you enough to really throw another $40 at it, I'd say hold off. Or at least wait till maybe it goes on sale or something.
Or if you didn't play Sun and Moon.
Yes, absolutely.
If you didn't play Sun and Moon, pick up Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon.
100%. If you have not gotten into 7th gen at this point...
Yeah.
God,
I know, right?
God, I sound old. If you've not gotten into 7th gen at this point, this is 100% the entry to go for.
Yep.
Also, kind of interesting thing before we jump on other games. Nintendo did announce, though, too, that this is going to be the last one for handheld.
Yeah, on the 3DS.
On 3DS.
Yeah.
Which is, like, so very funny, so...
Yeah, this is the last main Pokemon entry on the 3DS, meaning the next one will come to the Switch.
Yep, which is going to be fucking awesome.
Probably also why it was an Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, and not whatever the next things they're going to do. Or a Stars, or whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Pokemon Eclipse. I'm still calling it. It's Eclipse.
Well, that
Sun and Moon, it's Eclipse. It makes sense.
I will say this though too, and just like really quick, not to like super go in. I still think I would have liked that better instead of two versions again.
I still think that's what we're gonna get on the Switch. I think we're gonna get a glorified version of Sun and Moon with different kinds of graphics, closer to Pokemon Coliseum and Gale of Darkness.
Oh yeah, we could do that.
But in the form of Sun and Moon, where it's the same location, the same kind of story, it'll be Pokemon Eclipse, and there'll be shit that has to do with like.
See, I'm down for that as long as they add in like another 50 plus Alolan forms and megas.
Yes. And the other thing too, the reason I think it'll work well is because if they do Eclipse, I have a feeling the Eclipse would happen a lot, so the day and night cycle doesn't have to be by the time on the DS. It could just happen at random times, and a dynamic day and night cycle happening throughout the game on a Switch is 10 times more probable.
Yo, you know what would be?
I'm just totally.
No, I know.
We're doing that thing again.
I know. Keep in mind, we're making all this up. You know what would be really cool? If the Eclipse or like the sun and or the day and night was debated on whether you were in handheld mode or
on the
docked.
TV. Yo,
that'd be cool. They're pretty dope.
And every time you switch, it causes an eclipse.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. Every time you click it in between, it goes through like a... Oh, man, that'd be super sick.
Yep, we gotta stop. We keep doing this. We do this every time. Cool. Nintendo.
So, Pokemon Switch game that doesn't exist got a 10 out of 10 from us.
Yeah, in our heads. So, yeah. Nintendo, we're looking for jobs.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Skyrim was also released this week.
Yep. Two Skyrims. Two Skyrims. Keep in mind, we've already had Skyrim for fucking, what, 5 years?
6.
6 years. Six.
It came out November 11th, 2011. 11/11/11. That was Skyrim. And it definitely...
And they were like, you know what the people need this week? 2 Skyrims.
Yeah. Oh, man, one Skyrim wasn't enough for you 6 years ago? Here's 2 more. It's the same game, just 2 more times. So Skyrim on the Switch came out to actually pretty decent reviews. It came out at an 84% on Metacritic, 8.2 user score, 8 out of 10 on IGN. It is not as graphically amazing as the special edition on PS4 and Xbox One.
Big surprise.
But it does have a graphical increase from 360 and PS3. It does also have all of the DLC content as well as added bonuses like motion controls and amiibo support. You can dress up as Link's costume from Breath of the Wild, getting the Master Sword and the shield and his outfit which is pretty cool. Apparently there's also a way to do it in the game without using the amiibos, I found
out. But you still... The one thing, though, is the only way to get the Master Sword
is with the amiibo.
Yeah. You can get the outfit and the shield, but there's the only way to be able to get the Master Sword actually in the game is with a Zelda amiibo.
That's pretty dope. That's pretty cool. Skyrim also came out on VR.
That's
PlayStation VR.
Pretty fucking dope.
Yeah, so it came out to 76% on Metacritic, 8.5 user score. It does use the teleport technique like all the other games, so you don't get motion sickness.
Yep.
It is pretty intense from what we've seen. Obviously, neither one of us have tried it. I've watched videos of people playing it online. It looks really cool.
I plan on playing it at some point relatively soon, but not any
first.
Not any. Yeah, exactly. Not any relative video timeline. My goal is hopefully with this Black Friday to lock down a VR. And I'd love to do some like VR type stuff pretty soon. But yeah, I'd love to jump into that one. But yeah, I just do not. And also with so many things out right now. I'm still putting all my full time in a .hack. I have like no time.
And also, I really don't want to review Skyrim because like it's just Skyrim.
It's
again.
Skyrim.
It's a port of
That's
Skyrim.
the same thing. It's a port of Skyrim. Now the two kind of going off both. So the one thing I did really like about the Switch's version though, which I was very nervous of, was load times operate very well.
Yes.
On handheld mode as well as console
Yep.
mode, which is a big fucking deal, at least for me, when I was like, I'm not buying it on the Switch. I've already owned it 13 times. I don't need to own it again on the Switch. So that's where I was just like, cool. The one thing, though, that I do find interesting with VR is it obviously does have motion control support.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm the most interested in checking out for Skyrim.
Yeah.
I do also...
it does on the Switch, too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I do also find it, though, weird, and you were arguing with me before, but I do still find it weird that, like, as of this current moment, if you try to pick up a copy of Skyrim, so we'll go PS4, don't worry about the Switch. So, solely on PS4 right now, you can pick up a standard copy of Skyrim for $40, but then the VR copy is $60.
And I told him, I'm like, it's VR though. It's a 350-hour game, completely in VR.
That's true.
I would think you'd pay $100 for that.
That's true. But, I mean, at the same time, the way Sony kind of pitched it in the beginning, and this is just my opinion, but the way Sony pitched in the beginning, they didn't even make it seem like Skyrim was going to be a new game. They just made it seem like it was going to be an update on the game you already owned. So that's where, like, because even now I look at situations like Fallout.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, so fuck, Fallout's not going to have any VR on its own. I'm definitely going to have to wait for, like, a Fallout 4 VR edition.
Yeah.
Which that would be fucking...
Which is happening.
Oh, yes, that's what I'm saying.
But only on Vive.
Exactly.
Now,
for now.
Going off of Skyrim on VR, Doom VFR is coming out really soon.
Yes.
It's like a week away.
Yep.
Which VFR, and I think we've mentioned this before, I just like saying it. VFR goes off of BFG. BFG is big fucking gun. VFR is virtual fucking reality.
Yep.
And I love that that's in a title of a game. Makes me so satisfied.
Well, and also what's interesting about that one is that one's going to be cheaper. That one's not a full price game. That one's not a full 60, but it's also not the full game.
It's also a different story.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not the game modified in VR. It's an entirely new story.
It's a simulation room, isn't it? That's what it's always doing. It's giving you Yeah,
so that's kind of cool.
That'll be interesting.
Yep. So I guess we'll talk about this one now.
I guess we have to bring it up.
Okay. So there was another game that came out.
Did it? Did it come out?
It kind of came out. No,
it fully came out.
It came out,
and then people were very
So Battlefront 2 came out.
It did.
I have not gotten to play it yet.
We've not gotten a chance to yet.
But we are doing a whole episode for it.
We will.
And that's not what we're going to talk about.
No.
We're not going to talk about the fact that it came out and it probably plays great and there's an awesome story to it and all that jazz.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about what happened on Reddit and what happened to EA and what happened to the gaming community because of Battlefront.
Yep. Because it affected a lot.
Yeah, it did.
And I will say this before we super get into details on it. I'm equally as happy as I am frustrated at this whole situation.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to say right out, like, we are going to talk about the good things and the bad things of this situation.
All at once. I
am not biased. I have zero opinion on what happened. I will put that out first and foremost. I do not care either way. Mm-hmm. I find enough positives and enough negatives in it to equal out where I don't have a strong enough opinion to be angry or...
Oh, yeah, cool. No, I'm definitely not. I mean, for me, it's
I'm just talking about it.
Yeah, well, okay, so here. So let's... For anybody that doesn't know, so Battlefront 2 came out.
Yep.
And like most games that we've even also brought up a lot, this game
we talked about this already.
Exactly. This game does have microtransactions, if you didn't know.
Did.
So right when it at launch, so just for current tense sake, so right when it launched, it had a microtransaction system.
Yep.
A lot of people didn't like it. We can go into super details of everything for it, but I'll just keep it very generic.
For right now. We'll go into it in a second.
Moral of the story, there was a lot of characters that people very much kind of assumed would be default characters, such as Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader. When you think Star Wars, you think generically Darth Vader and shit. You think that they'd be available day one.
Especially when there's a game mode called Heroes versus Villains.
Exactly. These heroes and more heroes and villains, however, were locked under essentially a payment wall or a spend enough time in the game to then earn them. The problem was people were roughly doing estimates over your time as opposed to money situation, and we're pretty much roughly getting over the point of that you'd have to spend about 60 hours in game to be able to earn one of these characters. One of these top end characters. There's a lot of lower characters in the middle that you could earn. But
they broke it down, and as of the game's release, if you wanted to unlock every single thing in the game, which the only way to unlock them through were from loot boxes, and you earn the loot box in the game by doing different things, completing matches, getting kills, wins, losses, and campaign.
So really quick, and this is going off your point, just to bring this up, I'm not trying to derail this. There's another important part with this whole crystals currency. So crystals are what you buy with your microtransactions.
Yep, and it's also what you earn in game by completing the different things.
Well, kind of.
Kind of.
So the reason why I throw a disclaimer on this is when you buy the crystals, you then use those crystals to then buy loot boxes.
Yep.
Those loot boxes then drop a different currency, which is then what you use to buy the heroes. So the biggest issue is with a lot of people, just even right out the gate, when Jeremy's about to bring up the whole time of playing as opposed to character, you could spend supposedly $60 to just get crystals to then directly buy the character. Or if you are buying loot boxes or opening loot boxes, you only have odds of getting a set amount of currency. There's no guaranteed currency amount per loot box.
So you could spend $20 real money and open a $20 loot box, but only get $5 worth of in-game currency.
Bingo.
Now, on top of that, though, there are loot boxes for everything. There's currency loot boxes, there's loot boxes for characters, for weapons, and you can use them on whatever you want.
Yes.
But certain things in the game were only unlockable by the in-game currency.
Exactly.
So, breaking it down, if you were to buy everything in the game, if you were just playing the game and not spending any real money, and you used the in-game currency to buy it, you were looking at 4,500 hours to unlock everything. Or $21,000.
Now, now as a partial disclaimer, that too, $21,000 is to unlock every hero, every ability, every weapon. That is to fully unlock everything in the game.
Yep.
Which is fucking crazy.
When this first came out, people had a lot of backlash. So,
of course,
EA lowered it. It went from 4,500 hours to 2,300 hours. Went from $21,000 to $9,000. Still a lot on both ends. Still a lot. But they also decreased the amount of stuff of in-game currency that you got, and also changed the odds of the loot boxes.
Yeah, so just to kind of put a detailed thing on that really quick. So, like, the one thing that EA said, and a lot of people were throwing this number around, which I don't think is, like, 100% accurate, but a lot of people are essentially saying that the crystal amount to buy the heroes was reduced by about 75%.
It was close.
It was it's relatively close. I don't know if that number is like exact, so that's why I just threw a disclaimer out there for it. But yeah, then the biggest issue with them lowering the overall cost for the heroes was what they didn't tell anyone. At the same counterpoint was it didn't matter. So, like, if you were beating missions or doing campaign or earning anything, opening more loot boxes,
you were getting them at a slower rate.
Exactly. Your reduction was almost reduced by the same percentage.
Yeah.
So the thing was, okay, it's not 1,000 hours. I'm making up a number, but it's not 1,000 hours to get this hero, but it's still 500, and that's still way longer than what most people would play and able to get these heroes, which is crazy.
Originally, EA's defense was, well, you can purchase these things, or you can play the game, which is what we want you to do. We want you to play the game. And that's great, but nobody's spending 23 hours on Battlefront as a regular average consumer.
Well, and most importantly, too, it's even more than that, and I think that's where the issue comes from. It's not even the fact of we don't expect casual players to be able to put in that much time. The biggest problem is even with dedicated people, you have to put that much time just to earn a decent the top hero in game. That's a huge fucking issue. Hero org.
So essentially, what this came down to is Battlefront became the first AAA title that not only did you pay $60 for, but it was 100% pay to win. Because you had to buy the loot boxes or earn them in game. You could earn them in game.
You could.
Let me, keep that out there. You could earn them in game. And it does take a lot of money for them to put all the content and keep the servers up and give us the free post-release content because there is no season pass. It does take a lot of money for them to be able to do this. And selling Battlefront 2 at $60 is not necessarily profitable for them. This is why I'm not 100% backing this. as they could have went about it a different way. But people expect a little bit too much from a big developer to put out a game for such little cost at constant productivity.
So, I totally agree with you there. So, like, here's the thing that I know a couple channels did bring up, which I was appreciative of before we really, like, talked about it ourselves. But there is a lot of places just going generically of, like, microtransactions are bullshit.
Yep.
And it can't be, the problem is it can't be blanketed that much. Because here's the biggest thing. So, EA, which is a ridiculously profitable, and has
100% a AAA publisher.
Exactly, and is clearly known with their sports titles. We'll just use that.
But also Battlefield, Battlefront, Need for Speed, Sims. We can keep going.
Of course, but for the record, let's just hone in on sports for a little bit, which is changing gears. But I'll use it as a major example. So we have sports games, which in those instances you have a lot of scenarios. If you want to get top line competitive with those games, it's very pay to win.
Yes,
it's very pay to win.
Now, hang on though, because we can use that in a different sense, because a lot of people play fantasy sports and a lot of people bet on sports.
Yes, that's very true.
Sports using it is not as bad as a skill-based game.
Of course.
With weapons that increase things.
Of course. Now, and of course, this is not a perfect example that we're setting up. But the main reason I bring it up is just because, so just to put it simply, EA has done microtransactions before.
Forever.
Exactly. They've done them before. They're going to keep doing them.
Yep. They did them since Madden Ultimate Team started in like 2011.
Exactly. The moral of the story, though, with it is they have a pretty good idea of how to do them.
Yes.
And definitely before Battlefront, people have been relatively
okay with it.
Now, of course, there's been conflict, but that conflict wasn't always necessarily with EA. That was with microtransaction in general. Because there are some people that don't support them, and if that is your opinion on it, that's totally fine. If you don't want to back up a company for it, that's okay. If your initial thing is a game should be $60, I don't want to pay any more than that ever, that's completely fine. That's totally fine.
Yeah, that's your opinion. That's
exactly. Like for us, we go occasionally in on microtransactions. My thing is always this. If a game offers me the opportunity for me to put money in and make that opportunity worth it based off my then love of the game, then I will certainly put more money into it. But that's where my debate is.
And I feel like if I'm being pressured to do it, I'm not going to do it because 100%. That's not fair.
Exactly, 100%.
Going back to it, unless it was constantly a different hero that didn't have different abilities and was a reskin, there wasn't a whole lot that Battlefront could do. But a lot of people got pissed off from the first Battlefront that, they made me buy a $50 season pass that only gave me 4 planets.
Yeah.
And there weren't any extra weapons, and there weren't any extra vehicles, and the game didn't have a story, and the game was rushed, and the game was this. Let's blame Disney. Disney told EA, you have to put out the game now. Force Awakens is coming out. Get the game out in time for the movie.
Yep.
Okay, they put out an unfinished game. They got a lot of backlash for it. Now they made up to everybody and made a full complete game with, like, at the end of the free content, there's 30-some maps, 30-some vehicles, 20-some characters, a full story campaign, offline split-screen co-op.
Yeah, there's
a lot.
There's
a lot in this game. And all the post-release content is free. People expect the servers to keep going. People expect updates to keep happening.
Well, and so really quick too. So
but they need money to maintain that.
Exactly. Well,
they're not going to get that from a $60 game.
Exactly. And most importantly too, so EA hit a really weird spot with this game because it's Star Wars, and that franchise costs a ridiculous amount of money just to be able to even make the game.
Yes.
Let alone keep the game thrived, keep the content going for it. And then they already even said, because of how much backlash they got for the first game, just like you said, they're putting out the season pass for free.
Yep.
And with most games, even with microtransactions, you usually think season passes are your biggest moneymaker because they ask for the biggest money incentive right out the gate.
Right.
So with that being free, EA had to do something.
Yep.
And we talked about that a lot, and so we won't regurgitate the fact that EA needed to do something. Because in my opinion of this, EA need to put microtransactions in this game.
Yes.
That had to have happened because...
For them and for us.
Specifically for the fact that the season pass was free.
Yep.
My thing is, now I will say this, if they did have a season pass that was $50 to $40, in my opinion, they didn't need to have microtransactions.
Right, and I don't think they would have.
I still think they will because they're EA.
But I think it would have been different. I don't think it would have been as pay to win.
It definitely would not have been as severe. So now, cut to...
Today.
Yeah.
So, we said did have microtransactions.
Yes.
Past tense.
Yep.
It does not right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, the only way to earn any loot boxes is in-game.
Yep.
They did cut down the hours, so there is less time.
Even more so.
Yeah, it takes about 22 hours of gameplay and the right amount of chances to unlock, like, Darth Vader. Okay? That's really, really good chances.
Yes.
The reason it doesn't have microtransactions is because EA now holds the record for the most downvoted comment ever on Reddit.
Yep.
Has the record for the most disliked video game trailer of all time on YouTube.
Yep.
Amongst other backlash and shit. Okay?
It's clear the community is rebelling against
People wanted refunds. You could go onto EA's website. You could go through and do a refund thing. Then they took away the link and made you call because they didn't want to have to keep giving refunds.
Because
they knew people wouldn't stay on the phone.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Star Wars is a big deal, right? There's a new movie coming out. There was a movie last year. They just announced that they're going to do a new trilogy after Episode 9. There's a lot going on with Star Wars. It's one of the most beloved things in the world. And who owns Star Wars? Disney. So Star Wars was getting bad rep because Star Wars Battlefront came out. And not everybody and their mom knows that EA is the one making the game. They think it's Star Wars making the game. So, Disney was like, hold on, no, stop the microtransactions or we're pulling the game. Disney literally threatened to shut off the servers for the game and make EA just stop doing things with it unless they took away the microtransactions. Obviously, EA is going to listen to the big dog and giving them all the money. So they're like, okay. So they stopped. Microtransactions were gone. Microtransactions are coming back.
Of course. That's another thing, too. I hear from a lot of people that because they shut down, they're like, oh, cool, we did it. And it's like, you do know they're coming back.
Yeah,
they're just going to come back with a different payment system. And
and they're going to be restructured. They're
yes.
going to be a different thing. Apparently, they're getting away from the idea of the in-game currency that you earn. And everything is going to be just crystals in general. There's going to be a set time for when you get crystals. There won't be loot boxes.
Yep.
Things will just be purchasable with the crystals, which are kind of like unlocked tokens are in Call of Duty World War II, and you'll have to go through that, but you can also buy them separately. So, going off of that, if you take out the loot box and microtransaction system, the game is actually doing really well with reviews.
Yeah, you have a pretty good
It's sitting
game.
at 71%, but a lot of critics and non-user scores are taking microtransactions into effect.
The thing is,
because it's part of the game.
Exactly.
So
it is a part of the game, and the problem is because of originally the game was set up on a pay-to-win system.
Yes.
That's why microtransactions have to be put into account for.
Right, and the other thing too is when the games were reviewed by these major companies like PlayStation Magazine, IGN. Whatever, PlayStation Daily, whatever. Doesn't matter.
Ooh,
keep throwing the pen.
Throwing the pen.
Those things, those different companies reviewed the game before it was actually released.
Yes.
Or right when it was released. So they got the full version of the game that made it so the microtransactions made it pay to win. So IGN, who gave the first Battlefront a really good review, gave this one a 6.5.
Yeah.
Through Metacritic, it's at 71%. Could be a lot better. But the user score on Metacritic, which this definitely is all because of microtransactions.
100%.
Out of 5,700 reviews, it's sitting at a 0.9. Which is probably the lowest we've ever seen.
That's probably the lowest AAA title review bomb ever. For a user score. That we've talked about this a lot. Because here's my thing.
Shadow of War did really bad too.
Exactly. But let's even bring that up to kind of a point, though. So Shadow of War, though, was a big difference because review scores were giving it phenomenal reviews overall, pretty much because even though you had a potential pay-to-win system, you could still earn everything in game in a relatively reasonable time.
Simple amount of time,
And that's I think, the biggest issue that we have with this type of thing, is that the time that they were asking as opposed to the money put in, it was way too drastic.
Right.
Way too drastic. If you're asking now, take off Battlefront, take game mechanics out of it. And if I simply asked you if you could be at a set location in a game, and you could either spend hundreds of hours getting to that location, or right now, $65. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Probably just throw the game away.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. See, exactly. Most people would just and that's exactly the point.
Right.
Where some people look and go, oh, I'll just spend the 60. Some other people go, fuck it, I'll just earn it. And then most people would go, why am I even in this situation to begin with? Fuck this game.
Fuck the game.
So,
it's becoming more and more interesting, and I've made this point before, where people keep expecting the games to stay at $60. They are 4K games. There's a lot of technology going into it.
Yeah.
There's full motion capture. There's games now that have, big name actors in them. There's the server maintenance. There's post-release content.
Oh, yeah. There's
like, once you're done with the game, the people don't stop working on that game. They are constantly working on the game and doing more things.
Well, what I was going to say, too, what I think is most important here, too, and what people need to understand is the gaming companies are only getting bigger.
Yes.
And the games are only growing, which is what the community wants.
And eventually they're going to have to go up in price.
Exactly.
If the companies are going to be profitable.
And yep.
I'm sorry, but people can't complain about it. Because back in the day on the Nintendo 64, you'd be paying $80 to $100 per game.
Yes.
Like, they went down in price because they went to discs. Now we're expecting 4K games. We're expecting games to run on the Xbox One X that is a $500 system for a reason. Like, there's a lot more going into these games, and people are just not...
I think the biggest issue... well, I shouldn't say the big... I keep saying that. I think one of the major points, though, is that the community clearly, every year, is expecting a new standard.
Yes.
And I think that's to be expected. I mean, if gaming is improving and AAA titles are always supposedly getting better, then we should expect new standard. Now, here's the issue, though. At a certain point within that threshold, there's going to need to be a point where the overall cost of the game is going to have to increase. That's my thought on it. Now,
especially if we're getting free season passes.
Of course. Now, of course, I think games have been trying to alleviate that initial cost.
Yep.
Because there is also a separate debate of whether intro gamers who never buy extra content, should they also have to get accosted with that $80, or let's say $80. Let's throw a number out there and say they start charging $80 for a game now because of how much it has 4K capabilities and stuff. So then, should that intro gamer be punished if they didn't want, if they only enjoy paying $60 for the game and that's their limit? Right. And even 60 for them is even a pain in the ass. You know what I mean? Because that is, there's a lot of times, even when we do reviews of, is the $60 price point worth it at the time of launch? You know what I mean?
And the other thing that game companies could start doing, and this sounds ridiculous, and you can yell at me for saying this, because saying it out loud is going to sound stupid. Mm-hmm. Say a game like Uncharted 4 comes out.
Yep.
Okay.
Came out, but right. Uncharted 5. We'll say Uncharted 5. Made up game.
Yeah. So they want to do a full story, but they want to have a really big multiplayer aspect. And they're going to have, crazy weapons and crazy things you can do in the game. But the game is the first 8K game. Okay. It's super, super crazy out there.
Yep.
So you could pay $60 for single player.
Okay.
And if you want to play multiplayer and really get into it, and you want the rest of the experience, you pay $20 more.
Yeah. No, I think that's fine.
Yeah.
I wouldn't yell at you for that.
I think games are eventually going to go that point. Because eventually it's going to get to the point where people are going to see $80 price tags and not want to do it.
Yeah.
Because they don't understand what's happening with the gaming industry. And...
Oh, well, and this also, I want to bring up this point before, and I got off track with, because this whole topic of debate is, huge. The thing I said in the beginning, before we even got into this, though, was I was, half really happy and half really sad. And, I want to get into that for a sec. So I'm really happy because the community came together. The community really spoke out about something and really rebelled against it. And the developers really did listen. And actual change is really happening.
Yeah, really fast. It was incredible response.
It's within 48 hours. 48 hours of the game launch. They literally, before even the standard copy came out, just between the deluxe edition coming out and the standard, they were like, whoa, we have to fix this.
Yep, microtransactions were already gone.
Exactly, that's a big deal. So that I find very heartwarming.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just that aspect of it. Okay? Here's the other problem I have with it.
We had to do it.
No, not even that. No. I think that this was going to happen because this was happening. This was a long time coming.
Yeah, I agree.
And here's the whole sadness aspect of it. One, it got the most downvotes on Reddit. And I don't have an issue with that, only with the sense of I can't believe that is what got the most downvotes on Reddit. If you would just hear of things people have said in comments of human history, I can't believe some fucking piece of shit Nazi motherfucker didn't get the most downvotes on Reddit universally. No, it's EA's post on microtransactions, which is getting the most downvotes. That is just where I go, fuck, man. The community got together and we did it, but it's fuck, we got together on this. This is the thing that united the entire fucking community.
Yeah.
And so it's and stuff like that. And then the whole other thing is it's clearly Battlefront 2 is divided, right?
Absolutely.
And whether and whether microtransactions do universally get fixed, because of its initial launch, the community's going to be divided regardless.
Yes.
Here is the biggest sadness that I have out of the whole thing, is that it fucking just sucks for the fucking developers who really made this fucking game.
Yeah, and who really, are not EA, and who are the ones that are not sitting there being like,
who are the hundreds of people who have worked on this game and built up the graphics and the fucking level design. Because here's the thing, the game looks fucking awesome.
It does.
It looks gorgeous. I mean, there's scenes that I was already watching in 4K, and even just standard 1080p, and looking at some of the level design stuff, they look better than the fucking movies. They look so good. And it's such a shame because you can tell the people that worked on this game worked so hard, and they're just getting fucking berated. I mean, certain people are getting death threats, and it's like...
Yeah, that's not okay.
It's never okay.
It's not okay.
I think that's what people need to understand, is there is that thin line, and if you are going to get mad at a company or even a game or something...
You don't go to death threats because of microtransactions.
First of all, death threats is never the way to go.
And also, the other thing too is a lot of people need to understand the developers are not the ones that are doing the microtransactions. EA is the publisher of the game.
Exactly.
And also keep in mind too, there were 4 different developers on this game.
Yes.
Each one did something different. There were... DICE did all the multiplayer. I don't remember the other ones because we don't have them in front of me. Criterion... Didn't they do the story?
I believe so.
There's 4 different ones. We don't have them in front of us, and we will for the actual review we go into.
Mm-hmm.
But there were 4 development teams, 4 different development companies that worked on each aspect of this game, and then EA published it. So EAs are the ones with the server. Yep. EA is the company that's doing the microtransactions. You can't blame developers and people that designed a character and drew out levels and drew out the way that the blasters shoot and the lighting effects and the shadow. You can't do that. Those aren't the people that you need to blame. So death threats to those people are not okay in any sense.
Exactly. The whole thing is death threats over a video game is completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
Flat out. Bottom line.
I'm sorry that your $60 is more important to you than somebody's life.
That's inarguable in my opinion. But I just think the whole thing is, if you are rebelling against the game and you are speaking your opinion on it, the best thing that we can say with that in tune is just do the research and really understand what you don't like about it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, of course, that's pretty odd. But just understand what you don't like about it and who the direct cause of that is. Yeah. And not just go Battlefront 2 is a piece of shit game because microtransactions. It's too simplistic. I mean, of course, if we're just talking about it in hindsight, of course. And of course, if you're just having a conversation with somebody about it and they go, hey, how's Battlefront? You could absolutely bring that up. But, I'm not saying that. I'm not trying to control the conversation. It's just, when people go, oh, this is total bullshit, and then they're posting a review or someone's talking about it online, and it's just, the conversation needs to be correct and accurate. I think that's the biggest thing. So, this whole thing in general has sparked a lot of debate, and we're not going to kick up for the 15th time whether loot boxes need to be in games or not. Yeah. That's not what we're here to debate about. We just wanted to bring up the fact that it is bringing up a huge causality again, and I think it's better that we kind of went this route with it, because this, I feel like, is the really new discussion of, I feel like the gamer community really has major input now. They've really showed that change can happen. And the only thing I can pray for, which I don't think is going to happen relatively soon, which fucking sucks, but I just really hope that the funnel of the conversation really gets bottlenecked into what needs to be said for it, and not just go, oh, this game's fucking bullshit, and just immediately tank the review. There needs to be, and I think developers, and this is the other thing I want to state too. EA got hit with this, right? EA clearly got pinned on the bullseye with this. But here's the other thing. Every company needs to now look at this situation and go, we need to take a back step and go, if the gamer community jumps on us now, how do we properly channel their input? How do we then reflect their input into our change for a game?
And also the other thing too is EA have now set themselves up for every company in the future to do anything like this. It's now going to be, not in so many words, but it's going to be pulling an EA.
Yes.
EA 100%. Is now, this is that big of a deal.
Yeah,
it is a thing, it is theirs.
Yep.
It's not good on them, and it's given them a bad reputation, and game companies are going to look at EA now as, oh my god, they made a really big mistake. We need to learn from it.
Yes.
And that's not something EA wants to go down in history for.
No, of course not.
but it's happening.
They're doing as much as they can to change it, and hopefully, I mean, honestly, here's the thing too. I never want to see a company like burn down or go down in flames. I would love to see EA really kind of do a total 180. I almost said 360. Would do a total 180 and really flip it around and find a whole better system, and even change all of their microtransaction in general, and really go, hey, over feedback, and we're working better with, stuff.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, I don't think we'll see that now. I think, if we're lucky in our lifetimes, we'll see a really major thing happen. My thing is this, and I'll just kind of leave it off of this. Loot box systems and pay-to-win systems are hitting a real threshold. I don't think it's going to happen this year. I don't think it's going to happen next year. My personal thought is I think it's going to really hit right around like 2019, 2020 is where we're going to hit the major issue of, and before that, we're going to hit a major issue of whether it's gambling.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's the big debate. Yeah, we'll probably hit that by the end of next year.
China has already had Overwatch and what was the other one? It was Overwatch. It might have been Battlefront. And like, they are like seriously questioning whether or not you're going to have to be 18 to play the games in China, or whatever their gambling age.
Yes, exactly.
Because it's becoming too much of gambling. Yep. And we mentioned 18, that before. 18. Well, I don't know what it is in China.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot of, like, even a perfect example, too, is like, and so far, there's still so much conversation about it, but like Overwatch, for example, got like put into a thing of like a lot of people are even debating of that, the game should be rated M. Because of gambling.
Yeah, because, and their mentality is it's not pay to win, but you can put money into this and you can technically lose the money because you get duplicates of things that you already have. Now they give you currency to spend on things, but it was a whole big debate and we brought it up at one point.
Yeah, and to pretty much like flip that really quick, the whole debate with Overwatch, which is totally different though, and why some companies are
because it's cosmetic is not pay to win.
Well, not even that, but the technical definition though is that you are paying money and then receiving rewards, which is why loot boxes, to this day, at least for now, are not considered gambling, because you are still getting something.
Yeah, because you can't totally lose.
Actually, yes, exactly. With legitimate gambling, it's you can put money in and legitimately just purely lose.
Because you can go buy a lotto ticket for $1 and not get anything back.
Exactly.
Loot boxes, you always get something.
Gambling is the risk of not receiving a reward.
Right, so if you ever get to the point where we have a video game that comes out where you can get a loot box and nothing can be inside, you just get a little note that says sorry, that's gambling.
Yes. Now, and I will say this though, in my opinion, I do consider loot box systems a form of gambling.
Yes.
I mean,
but
that's
just
my opinion.
Not by the definition, not by law.
Exactly. Now, and I do think at a certain point there is going to be games that break that, and I do think that is going to get hit. I also think too that they might change. They might come up with a new title.
Yeah.
They might not just say gambling, they might say digital gambling or digital risk or something. Obviously, they're going to come up with a fucking better word than I can come up with in 5 seconds. But yeah, so I do think that a major change is happening. I think we're definitely seeing that in the community. And I also think, especially too, I think this is also very important too, because we're getting hit with this last AAA title of the year.
Yep.
And obviously, by far, the most debate of this whole year.
Yeah.
So I think on top of all this, too, I think this is going to be a very interesting forecast into next year.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be... I think that's the one thing I'm looking forward to the most is, wow, EA really kind of shit the bed on this. How is everyone going to run into 2018
now? The biggest thing that we're going to see that's going to happen after this is how... And this... I'm sure this is already set in stone. There's probably changes being happening to it now, if anything. But we already know Red Dead Redemption 2 is going to have an online component.
Yes,
we already know that Rockstar does a lot with microtransactions with Grand Theft Auto.
Yes, it does.
So that's going to be the next big thing that's really going to go into, okay, are they doing it right? So... Yeah.
It's true. It's true. So yeah, guys, that pretty much covers our whole up-to-date current events thing. I know that whole... thing was a huge conversation, but we felt like it was necessary, and most importantly too,
it was one of the most talked about topics for 3 days on
exactly.
Facebook.
And so and then the other thing too was me and Jeremy wanted to talk about this most importantly on this episode. Biggest reason being because we are, like Jeremy said, we are going to do a Battlefront 2 review. This was not a review of the game.
And we're not talking about microtransactions at all in the review. We're going to talk about gameplay, graphics, story.
we'll bring it up a little.
Yeah, we'll touch on it, but not to this extent.
Exactly. We definitely won't get into a 30-minute debate just purely based off that part of the conversation.
Yeah.
We felt it was very necessary to have the conversation as part of Current Events Gaming, and Jesus Christ, it's what the fuck the All Around Podcast is about. It's goddamn current events and gaming, so we definitely need to talk about it, but we just wanted to process it in the right way for you guys. Hopefully it's what you guys wanted. Also, too, if you guys had some debate or some input or yet again something that we missed out on that, which is obviously the biggest part of our whole podcast for this episode, please leave it up in the comments. Really appreciate it. So Jeremy, before we wrap this whole fucking thing up, let's goddamn put some goddamn sunshine in this goddamn darkness that was that conversation. What the hell's coming out?
4 major things coming out really soon.
Yep.
And to some people they might not be considered major, but it's all we have for the next couple of weeks.
And I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty much excited about all of them.
Yeah, I mean, me too.
Yeah.
But, so the biggest one is definitely PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds coming to Xbox One.
Fuck
December 12th. It's coming to game preview. It's gonna be $30. It's gonna be awesome. Can't wait.
Great price point.
Yes.
No loot box system.
No loot boxes. $30. Hey, but
cool.
It's also not a real game yet.
So
that's happening. Resident Evil 7 is dropping the 2 DLCs. The I don't remember what they're called. Not a Hero and Fate of Zoe. So the last 2 DLCs. The one of them is free. The one where you play as Chris Redfield, that's free. The Zoe one you have to pay for. Comes free in the Gold Edition, which comes with both of those plus the 2 band footages from the beginning of the year. That all comes out like
pretty interesting too, because that DLC plays a lot different.
Yes.
DLC is super actiony.
Yeah.
It looks really cool.
It looks awesome.
Still first person though too.
Yep, and it's also going to bridge 7 to everything else.
Yeah.
So if you want to learn how 7 fits in, like I do, you need to play it.
Well, also too, like officially links it because it was pretty much linked already.
Well, yeah, but
based off playing the end of the game.
Yeah,
but
now
this
we're gonna
DLC
learn
puts
how
it
Chris
full.
fits in everything.
Yep.
And why the Umbrella logo is blue. I really want to know why the Umbrella logo was blue. That has been bothering me since the day that game came out in January. Like that has been pissing me the fuck off.
Well, now we're gonna figure it out. Anyway,
Okami HD is coming out. Super dope. It's only coming out for $20.
Yes.
That's awesome.
So
play that.
God, that price.
And then Xenoblade. Xenoblade 2 is coming out, which is awesome. It's coming out on the Switch.
So
has a really cool Pro controller that you can buy for it in the special edition. Then there's other stuff that comes in the special edition. I don't remember what they are.
Yeah, soundtrack.
It's the first Steelbook for the Switch.
Yes,
that's
first
right.
Steelbook game for the Switch, which
so
is
that's pretty
super awesome.
So so those 4 things are coming out really soon, amongst other smaller titles like Horizon Zero Dawn splitting out its complete edition. So if you didn't buy the game and you want to pick up Frozen Wilds 2, you can get all that for $60.
Because we already brought up the DLC and stuff.
Woopo's coming out.
Yes.
Yeah. Woopo.
That goddamn name. Yep. So anyway, guys, that pretty much wraps up our episode 30. Yet again, if you have total ADD, today is November 20th. Yep. So God forbid if you're watching this on Black Friday or some shit. Wait a minute.
I closed the book before you said that to see if you remember the date.
Yes, I do remember the date. Goddamn, Monday, November 20th. So yeah, guys. So. So anyway. Jeremy.
Call back to the last episode.
Yeah, exactly. Nick. So Jeremy, obviously, if they haven't subscribed, where can they do that?
Oh, it's right over there.
Yep.
Right under Nick.
Yep.
Yeah, it's right there.
Right there.
Yep.
Right
and right there
yep.
is a bell.
Yep.
You hit the bell, click on it, just like that. You just click on it.
Yes.
And then that sends you emails, you can sign up for text messages, stuff like that. Let you know when we put stuff up, because we put stuff up a lot.
We do. Yeah, that we do. Yes, we also have a Twitch channel, in case you guys have no idea at all. Players of the Round Table, just check us out on there. We have a bunch of our friends and stuff, too, that put up a bunch of live streams and such. Plus, we have a bunch of old videos on there, too, that you can always check out as well.
The other cool thing, too, is that we have friends in a movie podcast, the ones who watch, and they're going to be talking about Justice League this week. You can find that on SoundCloud and iTunes. You should check that out.
Yeah, they just posted that today, right?
No, it's coming out tomorrow.
No, I'm sorry. They just posted the announcement today.
Yes.
Sorry, I want to clarify.
Yeah, so the video will be available,
the video will be available by the time you're watching this.
Yes, the audio.
Yes,
they do audio, not video. But you can download it from the podcast app on iTunes. It's super cool. Subscribe to them. It's free. Listen to them. They're awesome. And Justice League is really cool, so you can hear Kyle, Dave, and Kenny talk about that.
Yeah, it'll be super dope. And last but not least, we have our Facebook page. You can always check out everyone's info, what the fuck they're doing, what the hell's happening. Just please check it on the Facebook page. Just give that a like. So then
Facebook.com/Players of the Round Table. Super easy.
Bingo. So on that note, guys, we're really, I'm fucking this week is going to kill me.
We're going to die.
This week,
so we might not be here for another episode of the podcast. So,
oh God!
Yeah. Sorry in advance if you miss us.
Yeah, next week
we'll post funeral time.
We'll be reawoken anew for.
We're gonna be so incredibly dead the next time you see us. We're gonna have circles on our eyes. We're probably gonna be wearing like mittens and have coffee.
Yeah, we'll be. Just to put a disclaimer, the number of videos and the content put out over maybe the next 2 weeks might be very thin lined. But God help us if we are not fucking trying. We're trying our best. So anyway, guys, that pretty much wraps that up.
I have to be at work. We have to be at work at 5 o'clock in the morning on Black Friday.
So anyway.
Pity us.
So
please.
anyway, guys. Oh, as always, good evening.
Wait. Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Oh, yeah, really, too. Yeah,
happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, hope you have a nice whole family set up. Hope if there's no family, hope you have a good Friendsgiving. What?
It's just kind of more. You're like, if there's no family.
No.
I know. I know what you meant.
No, because I say that as in like, God forbid. Come on, think about it. God forbid if you're like, hope the whole family around, some fucking dude sitting alone, like,
That's
just
why I said, hope you have a nice Thanksgiving. Yeah,
but that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah, more of the story.
Eat some turkey,
whether
or
it's family or
not,
friends.
if
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
vegan.
Yeah,
Eat other stuff.
Yeah.
Eat some corn and potatoes. Stuffing, yes, cranberry sauce, some bread.
Some broccoli. Do you do natural cranberries or canned?
I don't do cranberries at all.
Oh, okay, see, neither do I. What's up?
Hey!
Yeah, fuck that shit.
Yeah, sweet potatoes, though.
Yeah.
Get the sweet potatoes.
Yeah, there you go.
And apple pie.
Yes.
I always have apple pie.
Yeah, apple pie's a given. So anyway, guys, as always, good evening, good night, and as always, good luck.
Yep. See you guys.
Guys.